Topics in post-harvest technology. Respiration. Most commodities are harvested at peak quality. Quality can only go downhill. Post-harvest technology, therefore, involves techniques to maximize the shelf life of commodities while maintaining their quality and ensuring food safety. A majority of post-harvest techniques involve reducing a commodity's respiration rate. Respiration has been defined as all those metabolic processes, the sum of which is a net gain of energy to the cell. It involves degradative, also known as catabolic, cellular processes. Many plants store excess energy as starch, which is a polymer of glucose molecules. When needed, the starch is depolymerized into glucose, and through respiration, the glucose is broken down to release CO2, plus ATP, a high energy containing molecule, plus water and waste heat. ATP is also known as adenosine triphosphate, and it is the main energy molecule for animals and plants. Though excess energy is often stored as starch, in some plants the excess energy is stored as fat. Fat is very energy rich, but much more difficult to break down than starch. Respiration represents a loss in dry matter, or, if you prefer, a loss in food reserves. However, respiration rate is not related to the amount of food reserves in plant tissues. Asparagus, which has a very high respiration rate, has relatively low reserves of starch in its tissues. In contrast, sweet potatoes, which are very high in starch reserves, have a very low respiration rate. So, what factors affect respiration rate? First, the age of the tissue. Is it a young, rapidly growing tissue or a tissue that is mature? The type of tissue also has a great effect on respiration rate. This table shows the relative respiration rates of various plant tissues. Notice at the top the general pattern of respiration rate. Young leaves and flowers have a greater respiration rate than fruits and stems, which have a greater respiration rate than storage organs. Flower buds such as broccoli and rapidly growing shoots such as asparagus have high respiration rates. Developing seeds and immature fruits can also have high respiration rates. Unripe fruits like cucumber have a medium respiration rate. The respiration rate is lower for these fruits because they are picked when relatively grown, but before they have begun to ripen. Mature fruits like pumpkin and the winter squashes, think of butternut squash and acorn squash, have low respiration rates. These fruits naturally last for long periods in storage. Storage organs like potato and onion and garlic also have low respiration rates. The respiration rate of a leafy vegetable varies depending on the growth stage when harvested. Spinach, for instance, is often picked as a rapidly expanding leaf and has a high respiration rate. In contrast, a cabbage head, which is a storage structure, has leaves which are more mature, and the respiration rate of this structure is usually low. Temperature greatly affects a plant's respiration rate. The warmer the temperature, the faster the respiration rate, and the increase in respiration is exponential. Very low levels of oxygen will reduce respiration rate. Above normal levels of CO2 will also reduce respiration rate. However, above 2 to 3% CO2 for many plants, CO2 becomes a metabolic poison. So, if you do want to store with elevated CO2 to help retard respiration, you have to monitor the CO2 level to make sure it doesn't get too high. Wounding causes ethylene production, which promotes respiration. So wounding will elevate respiration while the tissues are healing. Plant tissues that are affected by plant disease will have elevated respiration rates. Plus, the plant disease organism itself can have a high respiration rate. Though more subtle in their effects, cultivar, production area, growing conditions, and growing season can all affect respiration rate. Remember, cultivar is a contraction of cultivated variety. We tend to use variety when we mean cultivar, but variety is actually a botanical term that has a precise meaning. So in science, we prefer to say cultivar. With respect to growing conditions, are they good for growing? Is the plant subjected to some stress, whether it's water, nutrient, or temperature stress? These can affect respiration rate. Growing season refers to winter-grown versus summer-grown crops. What are the primary respiratory pathways? There are three we're going to talk about. Glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, also known as the TCA or tricarboxylic acid cycle, and the electron transport chain. Glycolysis is a sequence of enzymes located in the cytoplasm of cells. When starch is depolymerized to produce glucose, the glucose is acted upon by the glycolytic enzymes to yield pyruvate molecules. Here we have a schematic showing the glycolytic pathway. We'll start with glucose in the upper left. It undergoes a number of enzymatic changes, finally resulting in two pyruvate molecules.